Purpose is such an elusive target. We're told to find it and just use it as our main motivator throughout life until eventually we're 6 feet deep. But the thing is, if we're just trying to find purpose and then use that to motivate us for the rest of our lives, we're going to fail. See, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out whatever my purpose is and always failed when I'm searching for the purpose. See, in this video, I'm going to be going over the concept as to why I use quests in my old productivity suite, why I use the real life RPG as a theming to use these quests to motivate me to go forward. Because once I have the clarity of what I need to do, I find the purpose. The purpose comes once I have the clarity, once I have the journey map ahead of me. See, I remember one of the biggest times where I found this lack of purpose to be a huge downfall in whatever I was trying was when I actually had lost my job teaching at a university. See, I was teaching around the time where the degree was getting taught out, and then afterwards, I didn't have a job. I could have gone the traditional route of having the 9 to 5, finding that safety in a career that I knew would accept me because I had the qualifications. Or I could decide, you know what, no, I'm going to step away, I'm going to forge my own path. And that was when I started going, okay, now I need to figure out what my purpose is. Problem is, it wasn't that easy. See, purpose was this elusive aspect. I thought if I watched enough videos and did enough worksheets that I'd figure out whatever the purpose I'm working towards was. Spoiler, it didn't work like that. It was this aspect that I had always seen. In movies, they make it so poetic. In games, they make it so prolific. This aspect of knowing exactly what you're doing. And in life, it wasn't like that. See, I was going, okay, well, I'll make a career based on my freelancing and making a creative agency where I can use my skills in design and animation and whatnot to then make money with different clients. And I was lost. I had an idea of the end result, and I thought that is the purpose. That's what I'm working towards, yet I didn't have any sort of path that led me towards that. It was only when I started to sit down and go, okay, what do I need to do next? And figuring out that process that I actually started to figure out what my purpose was. I started to figure out the clarity of my actions, and in doing so, I realized, oh, my purpose is to follow along this path. And that path itself wasn't this huge, amazing, lifelong goal. It was simply the next problem. In my life, I have found that there is a very key aspect to anything that I am doing in it having a success rate. And that is when I reframe it as a quest. If I have a quest, I have a journey, I have something that I can latch onto and go, this is what I'm riding through until the end. But there is a caveat to that. And that is that your quest doesn't need to be a lifelong goal. See, that was a huge hurdle I needed to figure out, because once I had the idea of, oh yes, if I reframe my things as quest, I have the clarity, I can find the purpose, I immediately hit a wall of going, oh God. See, once I had that one thing, I couldn't divert, I couldn't change my plans because I had the path, I had to reach it. And if I do that for my whole life, then what am I doing? Because I want to jump around and play around in new fields and experiment with different ways of doing things, and if I lock myself down now, then I'm going to lose all those opportunities. Well, it was crippling. I couldn't do anything about it. I found myself absolutely lost. This pursuit of purpose through clarity had led me to go, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no purpose. See, I can't just pick one and then choose it for the rest of my life, because that's when I fail. I have always been in the mindset of going, oh God, okay, I need to just jump around because that's how my mind works. And that has helped fuel my creative desires. But at the same time, trying to lock that down into a singular path has been one of the hardest yet one most amazing tools that I've actually figured out for myself. See, in the creative fields, there are so many different aspects that you can touch on. And that was what I loved about it when I first jumped into it. But the thing is, when you are actually starting to refine your palette, refine whatever your skill set is, refine your business in that regard, you find that there is going to be a struggle. So then the question became, how did I define the quests in my life? Let me just take a step back and reframe this. Imagine you're playing an RPG, be it Skyrim, Legend of Zelda, whatever it is. You have quests, you have goals that you're given that you need to achieve. You usually have your main quest and you have your side quests. Side quests are fun. They're always those little things you go, oh, what's this, what's this, what's this? And then there's the main quest, the one that's actually driving the story forward. And that first division of quests like that is actually one of the most important things, because once you have a main quest you can work towards, you can go, oh, all of these tasks I need to get done are related to solving that main quest. And what is the main quest? For me personally, I always reframe it as, what is my biggest problem right now? If I can figure out what my main problem is, I can then define my main quest around solving that problem. And that also allows me to go, oh, this doesn't need to be lifelong. I don't need to have a purpose for the lifelong goals. I simply need to have a purpose in regards to solving this problem in my life right now. Everything related to solving that and making sure that that is no longer a problem is now part of my main quest. Every task that helps me move towards that goal is a main quest. But everything else is a side quest. Yes, I can still do them, but it makes me realize that I need to focus in on that main quest if I want to actually beat the game, if I want to finish this game and move on to the next quest. Because I realize that it's not going to be this quest forever. I'm going to solve this problem, move on to the next one. See, because like games, I'm going to have multiple quests in the same game. I'm going to jump from game to game, play different styles, figure out what different worlds are like, and all the while, I'm going to have a main quest at any point in time. But it's not always going to be the same one. See, if I have the main quest, I know what I'm doing at that point. I can play around with the side quest, but I also know that this main quest is no longer going to be the main thing driving all of my actions. I'm going to jump to the next quest. I'm going to jump to whatever is the next problem I'm trying to solve. So at a basic level, let's try and see if we can go through a few steps to actually help you break down exactly what your main quest is, how you can then break it down into individual tasks, and then apply it in your real life to find that purpose that you may be lacking right now. Step 1 is simply to sit down and write down every problem that you have in life right now. It can be something so small as, oh, I need to go pick up that piece of trash over there. It can be huge and going, oh God, I don't even know what I'm doing with my career anymore. Everything in between. Everything. Those are your problems. And if you start writing them down, you'll actually start to realize there is commonalities between all of them. See, at this stage, you get to do one of my favorite things, which is what I call the toddler question. And that's simply when you go, why? And by asking why over and over and over, you can start to connect these things. So look at this list of problems you've created. See what the commonalities are. See, because once you have all those commonalities connecting and you've figured out what that root cause problem is, you now have your main quest. The main quest is simply stop that problem. Fix it in any way you can. And then define every task around that. That's effectively how the real life RPG works. It is me going through a process of going, okay, here's my problem, and then breaking it down and setting it up so that I have all the different tasks, have them in a certain order, having it so that I know exactly what I'm doing next. Now, admittedly, the real life RPG kind of organizes all that and just shows me the next top task. But in your life, you will need to sit down and go, okay, cool. How exactly am I going to make this easier? How am I going to make sure that I can do this task next? Because once you have that clarity, you can actually start to find that purpose again. You go, oh, I know that this action right now, it may seem trivial, it may seem stupid, but it is going to help me solve that problem. It's going to make me solve my main quest. And eventually, you'll finish it. You'll finish your main quest. You'll feel like you've leveled up in life because you've achieved something. And in doing that, you then have more motivation to do the next quest, and the next one, and the next one, until eventually you're standing atop the mountain with the sword and the dragon going, I've done it. I have succeeded. Now, I need to go over to that mountain and kill that other dragon. So it might be that you're just starting out in a business. It might be that you're trying to be more social. Whatever it is, figure out what that core problem is and start taking time to break it down. And if you feel like you're still struggling with this concept, there's a link in the description below where you can sign up to the 2-week tutorial, a series of 14 daily emails that are sent out to you completely free. In these emails, there's a breakdown of some gamified topic, a little bit about my life, and then exactly how I've applied these aspects in a quest form so that you can actually go through and at the end of the 2 weeks, have clarity on everything you're trying to do. Every single day, you will have a quest that you can do and actually achieve something in your life. So again, there's a link in the description down there for that. And the next time you feel like you are struggling in finding your purpose, figuring out the motivation that's going to push you forward in life and help you gain the clarity of what you actually want to achieve, think about it as a quest. Give yourself the story that you're working towards. And once you have that story, finish it.